If you've been playing Destiny for the past couple weeks, you would know that the Halloween event, Festival of the Lost, has been going on. For me, I logged in on the launch day and maybe once or twice since then to grind Haunted Lost sectors for the event loot. But that got me thinking. Festival of the Lost is an event that has not significantly changed in many years, and honestly doesn't do much to entice me to log in to play the game. Events in Destiny have never been above and beyond. But to me, a special event should give players more of a spark to play the game, interact with special limited time game modes, earn some cool exclusive items, and just generally get players playing the game. With Destiny events technically hitting all these points, there's still a lot to be desired, and that's what I want to talk about today. Hey everyone, I'm Rizeki and welcome to my design analysis of Festival of the Lost in Destiny 2. As always, thanks for checking out the video. If you're new here or haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like if you end up liking the video. It means a lot and helps you get notified for my future uploads. But let's get right into what we really want to talk about today. Destiny events, specifically Festival of the Lost. Special events in games are nothing unique to Destiny. I would say that most live service games, and even some single player games, have special events that take place around real life holidays, occasions, or just to celebrate something in game, a few times a year. For Destiny, there are about 4 events that take place throughout the year. Festival of the Lost for Halloween, The Dawning for Christmas, Guardian Games for the Olympics, and Solstice of Heroes for the anniversary of Destiny's launch. Events, at their core, are a way for games like Destiny to spice up the game during the year to hopefully bring players back into the game. They are kind of like a win-win. The game company can win back some players, and the players have something novel and fun to play as a result. There are a couple key things that an event needs to do in order to succeed. For one, there needs to be some kind of unique game mode or gameplay added to the game during the event. There also needs to be some kind of theming in-game. For a game like Destiny, that could be decorating the tower to match the event, or maybe for other games, it could be something like changing the menu graphics, the game client, etc. And finally, the biggest draw is to give players access to exclusive event items that they can only get from that limited time event. Let's look at what Destiny does for their events. Today, I'll be of course focusing on Festival of the Lost since it's happening right now, but pretty much everything I'm going to say applies to the other events as well. Since I already mentioned it, Destiny already hits the point about theming. The tower is decorated to match the event, and Lost sectors are also given a bit of an extra decoration to do the same thing. Honestly, it's not much, but it's plenty that sells to the player that there's a spooky event going on whenever they load into the tower while the event is active. Festival of the Lost also gives us Haunted Lost sectors, the exclusive activity for the event. And finally, Destiny also has a number of unique weapons and a new set of themed armor for each class to acquire during the event, alongside some other cosmetics. So, since Destiny hits all the key points, then Festival of the Lost should easily pass the bar for an event, right? And while yes, it passes the minimum requirements, it doesn't do nearly enough to excite players or myself. The biggest parts of a special event are the loot and rewards, and the other part is the limited time game mode. For Festival of the Lost, like I mentioned before, our limited time game mode is Haunted Lost sectors. This activity has you and 2 other players load into a redecorated Lost sector, kill a handful of enemies, a couple mini-bosses, and then you're rewarded with loot like candy. Each Lost sector takes about 10 minutes or so to complete. This game mode is fine, it does the job, but here's the problem. And also probably actually the reason Lost sectors were used as the basis for the mode in the first place. Lost sectors are one of the activities in the game that players probably play the least. And before the changes to exotic armor drops, they were solely played to grind for specific armor drops for hours. Not many players feel excited to play Lost sectors for pretty much any reason because of that. Either A, they see no point in doing them because they're kind of just boring, or B, they're sick of seeing Lost sectors from their typical gear grind that they do every day. Either way, players don't really want to be in Lost sectors. In addition, the changes made to the Lost sectors to make them play differently from normal are not so unique and different that it keeps players interested. The novelty of defeating Headless Ones wears off pretty quickly, and it kind of begins to feel more and more like the regular everyday grind that Lost sectors were already known for. Using Lost sectors as a base was actually pretty smart on Bungie's side, since reusing underused content makes it easier for them to quickly create the event. They don't have to create new things after all. But again, they failed to see that the particular content that they were using, the Lost Sectors, was one that players were just never going to be excited about for more than a couple games. Definitely not enough to keep them playing the event for the full 3 weeks. The other major issue is that although they could reuse any Lost Sector in the game, meaning they could easily create new Haunted Lost Sectors from the huge selection of existing Lost Sectors, well, they rarely add new Haunted Lost Sectors ever. Instead, they reuse the same exact ones that were used in previous years. So if you're a player like myself or many other long-term players, you are already tired of seeing the same Lost Sectors over and over and over for the same event. Essentially, you're already burnt out on playing the event before the event even starts. For such a low effort addition, it's kind of surprising to me that Bungie doesn't meet that effort to keep the event at least a bit more interesting each year. Now, I understand that because Festival of the Lost and other events in Destiny are free-to-play events that are only around for a couple weeks, Bungie shouldn't really be expected to put in a ton of effort into it. But I also think that they should put in enough effort to spice up the event every year. If the goal is to invite players to return to the game to play the event, then you should put in some effort to make the event worth playing. Even small things like fixing known bugs would be a great start. On stream, I was running expert Lost Sectors with viewers. We were trying to kill all 13 headless ones for maximum rewards. To my surprise, after killing 9 of them, everything just stopped spawning. Apparently, this is a known bug, and has been in the game for at least a year or two at this point. It shouldn't be too much to ask to just fix a small little bug like this for the event, but instead Bungie just plopped the Lost Sector back into the game without any updates or maintenance to ensure that it was working properly. Maybe it's a bit of a nitpick from me, but for an event focused on grinding Haunted Lost Sectors, it feels kind of lazy to me that this bug that prevents maximum loot is still in the game. I was already a bit bored of grinding Lost Sectors, but that bug showing up just left a bad taste in my mouth. But now we get into what might be more important than the unique game mode itself: the loot. There are a number of things that Festival of the Lost gives players in particular, but other events give similar types of loot as well. At the top, there are a handful of exclusive weapons to earn during the event. More often than not, these weapons are kind of middle of the road. Some are better than others, but rarely do you see meta-defining weapons in the pool. They're pretty good, but they're never the best. I think the only weapon that really has ever been chased after in any event is probably Glacioclasm from The Dawning, but maybe you guys can correct me down in the comments. This holds true for this year's Festival of the Lost as well. This year's shotgun is a brand new frame, which makes it a fun gun to chase and use. Braytech Werewolf is good, but other guns also fill a similar role. This year also allowed players to get the new exotic class items without needing to complete Dual Destiny, which was pretty nice for players who had trouble finding a teammate to run the mission with. And finally, the Haunted Memento was also dropping from Eerie Engrams as another thing to chase. Actually, let's quickly talk about the Memento. Last year, the Memento was brand new and was a very rare drop. It was also the only shader available in the game that was all black. It was truly a piece of loot worth chasing. Fast forward to today, and the Memento is dropping very often, at least for me, from Eerie Engrams. I think like maybe a third of the engrams I opened dropped one, which is kind of nuts. Maybe it's just me. And also, Super Black exists. Super Black is a shader that was available from Into the Light, and also available from this year's Festival of the Lost if you missed it back then. Super Black is the all-black shader. If you have Super Black, then you don't need the Memento. It's pretty much the same thing. Sure, the Memento has more of a leathery look, but black is black. I have no reason to use the Memento if I have Super Black, so I don't really want to grind for it. The loot from events is supposed to inspire you to play, give you a reason to grind the event, but when there is no loot really worth chasing, and the game mode isn't fun enough to warrant playing just for the sake of it, there's no reason to play the event. Last year had the benefits of the Memento, this year just didn't, and that's pretty disappointing. But wait, there's one thing I forgot to talk about in the loot section. The themed armor, the cosmetics. And I'm not gonna lie, Bungie does a pretty good job with event cosmetics. Usually, they are some of the best you could get in the game. But here's where things get a bit murky. In my opinion, the best event rewards are those that can be earned. It gives you a reason to play and doesn't cost you a cent of real-world money. Even games like Club Penguin back in the day would give out special event items purely for free. You just log in and play. For Destiny events, the vast majority of event-themed items and cosmetics are paid for. Sure, if you have the Bright Dust, you could get an armor set for free, but what about 2 armor sets? 3? What about that cool ghost shell? The emote? The ship? The sparrow? What about the paid event pass? Holy moly, every single thing is paid. Even the event masks, which frankly only get used during Halloween and maybe during the Verity encounter if you need them in Salvation's Edge, they cost money. There are not many event cosmetics that are free. There's a couple, like a few masks, but not a lot. Not many to earn from playing the event. The only real loot to chase is a couple of exclusive weapons that probably won't see much use, and a redundant memento. It makes the loot chase boring, and it does nothing to reward players for playing the event. Festival of the Lost is joked about being Festival of the Cost for a reason, and really, it's not that far off from the truth. Events in video games should be a vector to bring players back to the game, to spice up things for regular players who need a change from the usual grind. But Destiny events don't really satisfy either of these criteria. From adding in more grind, to essentially providing already existing content masquerading as a unique game mode, to being a glorified cosmetic selling event, Destiny events just don't hit the mark. I want events to be exciting, reward me with cool exclusive items and loot, and give me something different to play while the devs are working on the next big content update. Maybe I was a bit too harsh in the video since the event did actually get me to log in and play a bit, but I can't help just wanting a little bit more as a player. I want a change from the cookie cutter events that we've come to expect every few months. Maybe one day Bungie will bring some spice to its events, but until then, they will just be a small loot drop and a bit of environment decoration. Or maybe I'm just completely wrong and this is all an event needs to be. But what do you think? Are Destiny events in need of a refresh? Are they fine the way they are? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below or over in our Discord server linked in the video description. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It helps me and it lets you guys know when I upload a new video. I've got some ideas for more Destiny and even some variety content in the future that you won't want to miss. But with all that said, I think that's all I've got for now. As always, I've been Rezeki, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.